Hey, what's up, everybody? Video 44 coming at you with another video. All right, so I got about 30 minutes to chat like Pat before I got to put my clothes in the dryer. Got a lot of things to do in a little bit of time, so let's get into it. So a few things in the NBA that I wanted to discuss. A lot of things actually. I don't even know if I have time to do it. First off, Duncan Robinson is declining his $20 million early termination option to become a free agent and will work with the Miami Heat on a new deal or move elsewhere. Everything I'm getting is straight from Sham's Instagram right now, ESPN, so that's what I'm telling y'all. Duncan Robinson declining his $20 million deal. I personally think that Duncan Robinson has had a good majority of his career underutilized, sort of like I see Kuminga's situation in Golden State. It's a different situation, but kind of results in the same thing, as them guys not getting an opportunity to really show what they can do. They're not getting playing time. Duncan Robinson was a guy that was given far too much money in a time where what he did was such a premium, and people really thought that because we were in the Steph Curry Golden State era that you needed to pay shooters 3 and 4 times more than what they're worth just because they can shoot. They put him on a massive contract and then got to a point where they were afraid to play him. They didn't want him to get hurt, because he was on such a big portion of their cap, to where it was one of those situations where they felt safer just not playing him at all. Very unique situation. But he's been there the entire time. He was drafted there, and they just have not played him up to the level that he could actually play. This is a really good shooter. And if he were on a really solid contract, he could have been in a lot of situations that could have been a winning situation for him. I think now that he's at this point in his career, he still has a lot left in the tank, I'd imagine. He's definitely got fresh legs. They barely use him. He's improved as a defender. He's improved as a passer. He's improved in a lot of areas. And now he's just stuck in a Miami team. I just think the guy's fed up. I personally think that he wants to get the hell out of there. He don't want to spend another half a season there. And that's what it really comes down to. I personally think the better business move would have been to pick up the option. You're an expiring contract. It's only 1 year left on the deal. They'll trade you by the deadline. You know what I mean? But he said, no, I'm going to test the market. Now, do I think Duncan Robinson can get more than $20 million on the market? No. I don't think he thinks he can get more than $20 million on the market. I think it meant that much to him to get the hell out of there right now. Or he thinks he can get multiple years to continue to extend his security in his career with the Heat if he gives them a more team-friendly deal, since he signed such a big deal throughout the course of his career. So it could be one of two things. Maybe he's very pleased with the Heat for paying him. But I just feel like this is a guy who had a lot to offer, has a lot to offer at this point, and has been utilized very poorly because of the contract. It's like being discriminated against almost for your contract in a way. It's not really that, but it kind of equates to feeling that way. So it's like, it ain't his fault that Miami Heat paid him far more than he was supposed to be getting. It ain't his fault that Miami Heat didn't feel comfortable putting him out there after doing so. It's almost like the Jordan Poole situation in a way with Golden State. Sometimes you just pay guys too much money, and then it becomes a situation where it's more important that you keep them healthy than it is that you actually utilize them to what it is you should have been paying them for, based on the years and the amount. So I think that's Duncan Robinson's situation. I personally think he just wants the hell out of there right now. I think he probably sees a team that could probably use what he does and would love to join that team, and doesn't really care about the money because he's already rich. He is already rich. Now, is he going to get... I think that's a mistake in the long run, because at the end of the day, you're not going to be offered even half of that probably. You'd be lucky to get $8 million a year at this point. So in the long run, being so fed up that you leave so much money on the table, I don't think it's a smart idea, even though you may already be $100 million up like he is with the contract that he's been given. But I think that my gut is telling me he just wants the hell out of there right now. Like, I don't want to spend another half a season. I don't want to negotiate with them. I don't want to risk the fact that they may not trade me at the deadline and hold on to me. I don't want to be there for them. I'm out. That's what I think is going on. So that's just my point of view. If he resigns, though, I would be surprised, but then it would just speak to me being wrong, and likely he would be getting a 3 or 4 year deal of some sort to opt toward having more security in the league going forward. So if that's his intention, I think that makes a lot of sense. To lock yourself in for more years, and maybe you'd expect to get on the market by way of the team that you've been on your whole time. Maybe he's happy in Miami, but I can see a world where he just wants out of there, like literally right now. And I'll leave all the money on the table just to get me out of here type stuff. And so that's just what my gut's telling me. I could be totally wrong. I don't have any sources. I don't know this man. I do know that he's from Boston and he loves Boston's area like anybody else from Boston. He's a massive Celtics fan. I would not be surprised if he found himself on the Celtics. Would not be surprised. So the next thing we want to talk about is Julius Randle. He got 3-year, $100 million, $35 million a year for Randle. After they literally just paid Naz Reid a couple days ago. I think Minnesota believes that they can continue to get back to the Western Conference Finals all willy-nilly. That's what I think. I think they can move on from Rudy Gobert. I think they understand that they are living the best case scenario based on that Rudy Gobert trade that mortgaged all of their future. They have been able to exceed all expectations in finding talent that fits around Anthony Edwards and keeping Anthony Edwards in a happy space is ultimately what this is all about. So if Anthony Edwards is happy with Julius Randle and Naz Reid, then I'd imagine that would be the priority to keep those people. Problem is, they're really eating away at their cap on players that, if I'm being honest, probably you'd feel much better about making a less dollar amount. You would feel a lot better if Julius Randle was making maybe $10 million less than that per year. 25 for Julius is probably what he's really worth. 35 for Julius is rich. It's rich. I like Julius. We drafted Julius here in LA. I'm a Juju fan. I love seeing him succeed, but I can't see myself being comfortable with him making 35 a year. Now, the good thing is it's only 3 years, so you can look up and feel great that you won't be beholden to that for too long. But I honestly think that's too rich of a contract for me. I wouldn't be comfortable with that. Not based on what the Minnesota Timberwolves have going on without draft picks and stuff like that. I just don't think that's a great contract. Now, if you try to move that, you probably can move it, but you got to hope he doesn't have another injury year. You got to hope he stays who he's been. I'm not comfortable with it. But congratulations to Julius and his family. You know, like I said, we got a lot of love from him out here in LA, and so to see him continue to add to his career and continue to have security in his career is always a good thing for the person. But as somebody who thinks of himself as a GM and tries to put himself in the owner's shoes in a lot of cases, I don't think this is a good contract. I don't. But it ain't a long one, and so that helps that. So yeah, that's what I think of that. Kelly Oubre picked up his $8.4 million option for next year to return to the Sixers. That's fair. I mean, I think Kelly Oubre's had some down years, but in a good Kelly Oubre year, you don't feel that bad about him making $8 million. I think coming off the last 2 years he's just had, you'd feel a lot better if he was making vet minimum money. And I think that's why he picked up the option, because I think that's what the market would tell him, that he might not even be a desirable piece in the NBA. I think he would have found himself somewhere, but probably for the vet minimum, $5 million, $4 million, $3 million. It's probably what he would have found on the market. I think it's a smart move for him. And I don't think it's the worst thing for the Sixers, because at the end of the day, he's an athletic piece. At this point, he's a veteran, but he hasn't lost everything he has. I don't know his game well enough to know how he really is, but he seems like a guy who, if you need athleticism, some size, he can help you. And given what they're bringing to the table, VJ Edgecombe, Kelly Oubre probably adds to the positive of Philadelphia this upcoming season, given the fact that they were a shorter team. They didn't have a whole lot of athleticism. He provided the little athleticism that they have. So I think all in all, Philly can live with this. You can trade this thing. The contract, $8 million expiring, should not be difficult to move. So I can see that being a possibility at the deadline or somewhere throughout the season. But just in a nutshell, I think what the Philadelphia 76ers are putting together, he fits better on it right now than he did maybe in the last 2 seasons. So going forward this upcoming year, I wouldn't be upset at Kelly staying with the Sixers. They're just a bit more athletic, and I think he helps. What else going on, man? Malik Beasley facing federal allegations for gambling on NBA games. Hey, when you let gambling into the NBA, don't be mad when guys do stupid stuff. A lot of these dudes under 30 years old, they want more money, they want more opportunities. You know, if you're going to tell me that the billionaires above my head are going to allow for massive amounts of wealth off of my back in betting the games, then you can only expect that I, basketball player, am going to want to get in on the pie, and would rather say I resent it a little bit if I'm an athlete to say that you can make money off of betting, fans can make money off of betting, but my running around self can't make no money off of betting. I think we need to evolve to say, hey, if you're going to let the devil in the room, everybody needs to get a taste of the food he's cooking. And while I don't agree with that from a spiritual standpoint as a person of God, I think in a space where you clearly see everybody wants to bet, clearly see every talking head wants to promote a betting platform on their show or whatever, you got to let the players in on the money, man. You got to let them in on it. I'm sorry. Y'all got to evolve. If you're going to let everybody do dirt, how come the guys who are running around can't do dirt? It doesn't speak right to how we are approaching the era that we're in. So I don't think Malik Beasley should get in trouble for this at all. I think players should be allowed to bet on games. I think it compromises the game, but so does betting involved in sports compromise the sport altogether. And we need to be honest about that. Nobody should be betting. Everybody should be able to bet, or nobody should be able to bet. Otherwise, don't expect for me to say, Malik, you're the worst guy in the world, or Porter, whatever that dude, I think it was Porter. You're the worst guy in the world. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that because I'm watching billionaires and talking heads and everybody and their grandmama and Joe Blow down the street all making money off of betting, and I'm supposed to be mad at the players for wanting to do the same? No, I'm not going to do it. If you want me to vilify them for that, I'm not going to do it. We know we too real on this channel for that stuff. I'm sorry. Everybody needs to stop betting, or everybody needs to be allowed to bet. Don't let a few people touch the meal and everybody else is wrong for it. Nah, we going to stop all that. Y'all going to do dirt? Everybody do dirt. That's how I feel. And I ain't coming off of that no more. I'm sick of it. Because they want to vilify the black player running around and betting. Then they're going to let these referees be betting, and we know they doing it, and we just see them compromise the game, and nobody even investigates them, and it's like taboo to even look at them funny. I'm over it. NBA needs to stop all this nonsense. Adam Silver, if you're going to let some people bet, you need to let everybody bet, or get betting out of this game and leave the profits on the table, man. Okay? Either your integrity's in place or it's not. But don't be half in, half out and letting some people do things and some people not do things. That type of stuff, that's what's wrong with our world today in other areas of life. And we talk about it all the time. And if you follow me, you know what I'm talking about. Some can, some can't. Bad spirit. That's bad spiritual energy, and it's ultimately bad business. Leave Malik Beasley alone. Everybody can bet or nobody can bet, period. All right, so that's what I got to say about that, man. I ain't coming off of that. And nobody pay me otherwise. So, moving on. Dorian Finney-Smith is declining his $15 million player option with the Lakers and will enter free agency. Let me see. I don't know if this means that he's unrestricted or restricted. I'm not really sure. I'd imagine it feels like unrestricted because he had a player option and he declined it at $15 million. Dorian Finney-Smith had a really good second half to the regular season. He hit a lot of corner threes. He played some terrific defense for us, and in a need for us to have such fantastic 3-and-D players that can be so very reliable to hit a corner shot, I think he's betting on the Lakers understanding how important they have a need for that, and hoping that we will give him more security than maybe what he's expected to get on the market, or a higher dollar amount than maybe he should be asking to get. But I will tell Dorian, bro, no. If you should have taken that $15 million, because I don't think you're getting more than that on the market, and I don't think it benefits us to pay you, as you're starting to decline, extra years when we are a team that's rich in expiring contracts. That's really what it comes down to. I don't want Dorian to leave because I think he's great for chemistry with Luka the Don. I think he fits our team. Like I said, when I need a shot in the corner, I can count on him to hit it, man, and that's such an important thing for our team, given the fact that we've had issues in the past with perimeter shooting, with players who can defend and shoot. It just puts us in a position to be really, really less good at that. I mean, redundantly speaking, you just want to be able to execute very well. Going up against teams like the Nuggets, stuff like that, taught us you need people like him on the floor. But I don't want to pay him $20 and $25 million or whatever it is he think he's about to get. Dorian Finney-Smith is a limited player as it pertains to putting the ball on the floor. Dorian's limited athletically. I like his energy. I enjoyed having him on the team. But when we My issue with him before we were acquiring him, when the rumors was about, was that I thought he was getting to a point where he's starting to look older. Some of that had to do with him being in a Brooklyn team that was lost with a bunch of players in his position over and over again. But he's not somebody I want to pay $20 million a year. Okay, he's not. And so I don't know that it's easy to replace what he is, though. I want to be honest and say I don't know that the Lakers can just up and replace him. We can't afford to have valuable pieces leaving our organization either. So the Lakers have to make a hard decision, and maybe this is a good gamble for him and his team based on understanding the Lakers' position. But at the same time, I'm not up for him taking a 3-year, $20 million deal or something like that just because he knows we need what he is. Need is a very, very fickle conversation as it pertains to when you try to define what you need versus what it is that's bad that you would otherwise go for just to keep a guy. I don't want to do bad just to keep a guy. I was listening to the Laker Nation, I think it was last night as I was doing a little exercise, and they were talking about how the Lakers are trying to be good around the margins and ultimately have passed up on opportunities to fill needs because they didn't want to take on a bad trade or because they didn't want to have overpay for something or what have you. I would want to continue doing business that way as a Laker fan. I don't want us to overpay for anything. I don't want us to take on a bad trade with anyone. I'm not going to be drafting a second-round center over first-round value like Abdul Thero. I'm not taking random center in the second round if I know Thero's available. I'm trading up and I'm getting the best value, please. I'm in lockstep with Rob Pelinka when it comes to doing business that way, even if it costs me an opportunity to have a complete roster at times. I do think it's our responsibility in that same balance to get us a center, make sure we have 3-and-D players and this and that. But once you start giving away value, as we've defined as bubble equity, as I call it, which is value that is represented in areas that you cannot see until it's time to make trades. I don't want to give them no bubble equity because at the end of the day, we've already done enough of that, which is why we find ourselves at a deficit. As it pertains to our roster being thin, contracts haven't always been great, players haven't always developed, things like that. It's because we've been doing things the wrong way for too long. So now, even when it makes sense to try to fill the roster up, it would make even more sense for us to try to get ourselves back to square one as it pertains to our books. And you can't necessarily see yourself effectively doing that if you keep overpaying for stuff or allowing people like this to use your deficit against you. You'll always be in a deficit trying to keep yourself whole as a roster. I think that's the value of resetting your situation so that you don't have situations where players and agents can utilize your weaknesses against you. You set your situation and build properly and do things the right way all the way up within the margins and kind of just can afford to maybe take a risk like this and let a guy like this walk or pay him a little more because you're in a space from which it doesn't hurt to do so. But the Lakers are not, and because of it, I'm fine with Dorian Finney-Smith walking if he finds a deal that he likes. I'm fine with it. I think it hurts our roster. I think it hurts our situation. But I'm not in the business of overpaying for anything or taking on any bad trades to fit needs for this roster. We just can't afford to do it. We will make it so that we're not good enough any damn way doing stuff like that. Can't afford to do it. So if Dorian wants to negotiate something that fits within our margins, we'd be happy to have him, and I think we could showcase him on the biggest stage in the world, next to his favorite basketball player to play with. But if he gonna try to force his hand, I personally ain't doing it. I ain't doing it. Because I think, and I don't want to be disrespectful or sound crazy, but I think some people probably are overplaying their hand because they don't really understand the game like that. Or they got representation that's telling them to do gunslinger stuff with the understanding that it could really fail for these guys, and they don't really give a damn that it fails for these guys. And I think Dorian could potentially be in that situation, one or the other, where his representation sees him as a role player and they're trying to cash out on him, so they're willing to take chances with his career that shouldn't be taken. And I would caution him to understand that what's in your best interest ain't always in your representation's best interest, because they kind of swing for the fences. You need security. So that $15 million is $15 million that you're probably not going to find anywhere else on the market. And a guy like Duncan Robinson, in his situation, because he's made so much and has so much left in the tank, it's not the same as Dorian's, in my opinion, who's a bit older. Father Time is starting to catch up. He plays a more risky style of ball with him being a defender and all of that. I just think that he should be looking for more security. So if he can find that by declining, we're getting more years, maybe it makes more sense for him. But $15 million outright for one season of basketball on the big stage with the Lakers, when you fit next to Luka the Don, you're going to be on national television every day. I think it would probably be in his best interest to play that season out, risk getting traded at the trade deadline, $15 extra million in his pocket, an opportunity to be a need for a team that he's on. I just don't think he's playing this correctly based on what I'm looking at, unless he has a plan to re-up with the Lakers for something that makes sense for both parties. If he's looking to just test free agency, it's a gunslinger move. Maybe somebody's going to pay you that. Maybe somebody pay you more. Maybe you get more than what the Lakers are offering. I've been wrong when it comes to testing the market. And these GMs and these owners can be they can be weird sometimes when it comes to what they're willing to do and how they evaluate players and stuff like that. You never know what they're going to do. But I just think it's a hell of a risk, and I don't think it's a smart one based on fit, exposure, dollar amount, and just what it seems to me he has to risk. You find yourself in somewhere like Sacramento or something. Like it's just not. It's not. It don't look good to me. Him doing that doesn't look good to me. I would like him to stay, but I'm not about to pay him something crazy to ensure that he does that. He's not worth that. He didn't play well enough in the playoffs for that, and I'm using it against him when it's time to negotiate here. So that's where I'm at. You want to decline? Do it. Me personally, I would never have done that in his situation. I'm going to play that out, and just like Kelly Oubre, I'm playing that out. I'm not going to do that. So he did what he did, and for his sake, I really hope it works out for him. All right, LeBron James opts in, $52.6 million deal, evaluates his Laker future according to Shams Charania. LeBron's LeBron, man. He's at this point, he don't have to be beholden to nobody in any way, shape, or form. You're going to pay him what he's going to get paid, and he's going to hold you accountable for keeping a team around him that can win. And if you don't like that, too bad. That's kind of where we're at. You're 41 years of age. He don't really care about money. Talking about he's a billionaire, and this is how you get that money, by securing it. I don't believe he would get $52 million in a lot of situations, but if he did opt out, I think you could still see an owner somewhere pay him more than what the Lakers are willing to pay him right here. I think if he would have tested the market, he might have gotten 60 a year, like from somebody, but not nobody that he wanted to play for. He might have gotten it from freaking Utah or something, or Brooklyn, but he wouldn't have got it from nobody he wanted to play for. So opting in is what it is. It's difficult to build around him right now based on our circumstances. I wouldn't be surprised if the Lakers trade him at the trade deadline here. I wouldn't be surprised. As an expiring contract of $52 million, $56 million, no, $52.6 million. I would not be overly surprised if they traded him. I think it's smart for the Lakers to try to capture value for LeBron James, and we talked about this for 4 or 5 years. In a perfect world, I would love to see him retire in our uniform. But based on the same stuff we've already talked about in regards to Dorian, I don't think it's in my best interest as a fan to demand that the Lakers keep him just because we want to respect him and all of that. That is secondary to our future and ultimately to our ability to build our way around Luka the Don. And I know that sounds harsh and how disrespectful and this and that. I'm telling you, man, I'm a Laker fan. I'm very selfish, and I really care about my team. It's future, I really care about us being able to build something properly so that my team doesn't fall back into the Stone Ages like we came out of before he got here. I appreciate everything he's done. His numbers going up. He's won a championship here. He's chosen us each and every time. All of that feels great to me. I'm a shark, and a cold-hearted one at that, and that's what it really comes down to. I am not the greatest fan as it pertains to appreciating the player. I've been a fan. I've watched so many players coming in and out of this uniform. People I hated when they got here, loved when they left. People I hated again after they left. It's not, you know what I mean? For me, it's about the future of the franchise. And based on what it is that we're set up, how we're set up, I really don't want us to lose his value. Him retiring in my uniform feels great, great story. A lot of people appreciate it. A lot of people love him. I love him too. It's wonderful. But based on how this thing is set up, I need to trade him for something that's going to be tradable so that I can get myself back to where I need to be as it pertains to the bubble equity that we talk about. And so with him opting in, $52 million deal, I'm cashing out the deadline, man, and y'all gonna be mad at me for it, but I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do that. Now he needs to have a no trade clause on that thing if he wants to secure that doesn't happen. I don't hear nothing about no trade clause, so I'm moving him at the deadline, and that's it. Look, cold hearted, bro. Y'all know how BDF get down. It's all about the Lakers first. Name on the front, not the back. And if we had a bunch of picks, if we didn't do a bunch of bull crap over the last several years around LeBron James, it would not be necessary. You know what I mean? If I had OKC's war chest or San Antonio's war chest or something like that, I ain't moving LeBron. Let's retire in the uniform. We're going to have a wonderful time with the farewell and all that. It would be beautiful. But for our situation, I need to be able to capture picks or young players or something retradable for this man. Because if he retires in my uniform, that's $52 million plus worth of superstar that will not be realized, and my team is going to suffer on the basketball floor. That's a lot of bubble equity, y'all. A lot. And I don't stand to benefit from that. And so I'm here to tell y'all, man, I'm trading Bron at the deadline. I'm going to do it, and I'm not going to feel sorry, and I don't want nobody to kill me for it because I know it's for the betterment of the roster, but for the unit and of the team, rather. So that's what I'm thinking, but I don't know that we're going to do that. We have new ownership now. So LeBron needs to consider that, man. He needs to consider that as he opts into this situation. The likelihood of you getting traded could be higher than it's ever been because it's in our best interest to do so. And that's it, bro. That's it. So that's what it is, man. I know what I'm doing as it pertains to making sure that my team has a future. And LeBron James, in my opinion, needs to be somewhere where he can win. And I don't think we can win. That's another thing. If I thought we had a great chance at a championship, then of course I want to hold LeBron James for that. But I don't think we can win nothing. I really don't. And I don't think he's the problem. I think everything else is the problem. And that is what we have to fix. And we can't if we let him retire in our uniform. We can't fix it. And I hope he understands that, man. I hope he understands that. As a businessman, he should understand that. All right, so the next thing we're going to talk about is Jalen Williams, not J-Dub, but J-Will. He signed a 3-year, $24 million contract extension. I think this is related to the Dylan Jones trade. I don't know how. I'm not really sure how that works. But I think there's some correlation to them moving Dylan Jones and then from there being able to sign Jalen Williams. 3-year, $24 million. I don't know that he's been able to prove that he's a $24 million player, but I think his best days are ahead of him. Just won a championship. I think it's a very sensitive situation when you have a unit that just won. You don't want to break that up. They did draft Sorber, so I think Sorber kind of fills in at the position that you think you need Jalen Williams to fill. It's the center position. You don't really need J-Will as much. So I don't really know that I actually do this if I'm the Thunder. But then again, man, in Presti they trust. You know what I'm saying? Presti's been doing things the right way for a long time. If this is the move they make, it's probably the move they should. I have no problem with it. That's their business. I don't have no problem with it. I really don't. I don't think he's worth that. But the Thunder are so wealthy that they can afford to overpay a role player. If they, you know what I mean? They got it. Whatever it is they need, they got it. So I get it. Probably not a bad decision. And what else? That's pretty much all of the news there. Yeah, so just wanted to give y'all an update on what it is that Shams is reporting. From my perspective, give y'all a little bit of a point of view on that. You know, like I said, I'm a bit cold-hearted when it comes to this basketball thing. I understand that there's room for bringing sensitivity and caring for people's feelings into these conversations. I'm glad I'm not in a position to make these decisions, so a lot of people look at me as the bad guy, but I think sometimes you have to be the bad guy to be effective in the business based on how it's set up. If they would set it up a bit more humane, then it wouldn't be necessary to cut people off. You know what I mean? The business is ugly, so make the business more beautiful, and then we can have our morals enter it a bit more smoothly, and I think that would be what we'd want in a perfect world. So let's evolve business altogether. But that's pretty much my point of view, man. I feel great about where my team is at. I am happy LeBron James chose to be back with us. It always feels good as a fan to be chosen. And you know what I mean? I wish the NBA was a bit easier to build a championship squad without having to make such terrible decisions, like letting a great legend be traded for the first time in his career. You know what I mean? Like, I don't like that. I really don't like that being what is necessary for my team to have to capture value. You know what I mean? So that's what I have to say about that. Prayers out to everybody affected by sports gambling in a negative way. As billionaires continue to make money off of sports gambling, players continue to get vilified for engaging in the same business. I think it's wicked. I think the whole thing is wicked, and I think the NBA should probably see the fruit in leaving that stuff alone before it comes knocking on their door in a way that they don't like. Okay, that's what I would tell Adam Silver. You keep toying around with that, it's going to bite you. It's going to bite your It's going to bite your association in the backside eventually. I just know it. Video 44. I thank you all for watching. Out.